Welcome to the Faceless Podcast. I'm so glad to have you here. So we was having some technical difficulties earlier. My laptop died and it went and cut back on. So I am going to talk about the same thing I was talking about before, but this time we will get to the end. So I always get questions from a lot of my friends. They'll ask me about dating and just my thoughts on different things, which I love. Love psychology, so I love talking about the mind and thoughts and habits and things like that. This particular question is going to be I'm dating, what questions should I ask him type of questions, but I'm actually going to add a part to it as well, and a follow up, or like a second question I should say. So, first and foremost, I think when it comes to dating, we put a lot of pressure as women on ourselves. We're assuming that this question is from a woman, so I'm going to answer from a woman's perspective. And she is saying, what questions should I ask him? If I getting to know someone, we already got the phone number, we already talking. What are some things that I should ask him? And I think we think about the words more so than we think about the actions. A lot of the times we're like, oh, well, he said I'm beautiful, he liked me, he blah blah blah, but it's like, what is he, how is he physically showing up, how is he tangibly showing up for you in this time of dating or courtship, right? And what I mean by that is, say if he says, hey, I'm gonna call you back, does he call back, right? If you say, oh, I have this issue, is he trying to help you with solutions, to solve them, things like that. So let's say, you're dating, I'm going to break it down under a year. So we'll say between 1 to 3 months, what type of questions should you be asking him? Then 3 to 6, then 6 to 12, right? We'll do it that way because I think that'll be easier. So when you first start talking to someone, you both already know that you like each other. Y'all are both already talking, this is where you won't find as many red flags because it's very new. So a lot of the times people can portray that they are something that they're not. But if you ask certain questions, you can get to a place where you get to know who they really are, right? So, does he call, right? Do you initiate the call? Does he initiate the call? And letting him lead the conversation is very important. I know that a lot of women, if you haven't dated in a while, you're very excited. He's handsome, you're attracted to him, you want to get to know him, you want to understand him. But I think a lot of the times where we fall short is that we tend to overshare and we over talk because we're trying to prove to them that we are worthy of them. And we shouldn't be doing that. They should be proven they are worthy of us, right? And that's just biblical. Y'all know I'm a Christian. Y'all know what I'm finna say. But at the end of the day, he has to provide and he has to show up. And I think a lot of the times you can really tell a lot about a man if you're not having sex with him. So I would definitely say don't have sex. If you already did, that's your business. But if you could hold off on that part, it will really help you to get to know who he is, as a person without the blinders of good sex blocking your vision from who he is. I definitely think you need to ask him about his core values. And I don't mean just, oh, do you want marriage? Do you want kids? Those are normal questions. And I think those questions should actually be asked later on. And I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of the times guys can say they want marriage and they want kids with you and change up. So start at the foundation, see what type of foundational beliefs he has. And questions like, what are your spiritual beliefs? What are your religious beliefs? I also believe in letting him lead the conversation. Not saying you can't ask questions, but that he should take charge of getting to know you, right? If he's intentional about getting to know you, he's going to ask the questions. He's going to come up with the dates. He's going to, take charge because he's in pursuit of you. A lot of the times people think the chase and the pursuit is the same thing, and it's not. When someone chases you, they're chasing you because they want something from you. Once they get it, they will no longer chase you. A pursuit of you or a pursuit of a person is when they are actually trying to understand you as a human being. They want to understand your mindset, your thoughts, your family dynamics, your favorite colors. They want to talk to you. It's not just about sex or your body. It's more about, okay, can she be a mother to my kids? Can she be my wife? Let me see, does she pray? Things like that. You'll know by the questions he asks you what his intentions are. But a lot of the times we don't believe it, or we're like, oh well, maybe he'll change. Not likely. So another thing that you could ask is definitely, I would say, family dynamics. If he has children, it's not necessarily that he wants children, but does he already have children? What's his relationships with his children's mothers? And these are things he may just tell you, and you may not have to ask. I also find that sometimes when you're talking to men, if you ask one question and you let them speak, like give them the chance to really talk and open up, you'll get the information you're looking for just through conversation. Um, Whenever somebody asks you, "Oh, what are you looking for?" I'm very big on being very vague with that type of questioning. And if he does ask you that, you can keep it vague and say, "Hey, I'm just seeing what works for me at this point in my life, and we'll go from there." And keep it very vague. Just so he's not gonna portray that part that he thinks you want. So I say, at the beginning, the foundational things, what was his childhood like, maybe his family relationships or family dynamics, 5-year plan if he has one, more about his job. Does he like his job? His occupation, what are what's his biggest inspiration? Who is somebody that he's very inspired by and why? Um, what would he change in the world if he could? Things like that. And I also believe, instead of just asking questions, also presenting ideas of locations you guys can go together where you get to know each other. So not just the movies and dinner, but like maybe an arcade, maybe bumper cars, maybe a carnival, maybe art museum, sip and paint, things that are creative, maybe even taking a trip together or a road trip, seeing what his mannerism is, how is he out of town, how does he interact with different ethnicities and different races and different people. Is he somewhere you can take to the club and to a banquet, right? Does he know how to dress for the occasion? These are all things that you could assess while you're talking to him, getting to know him. If he has any social medias, looking through those, looking through the comments, seeing, is there any exes still on the page, any exes still in the picture, still commenting, still liking, still sharing. um how does he present himself online? Is that what you will want to be associated with? What pages is he liking? As well as it comes up, these are all things, that you could do, um, instead of just asking him questions, And, as women, we are very much Inspector Gadget. We can find things out. We can know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that may know the person, just to see what kind of person they are. And then even how you met. Did you meet through a mutual friend? Did you meet through social media? Did you meet through a dating app? You could even search his picture to see what social medias he has up. Um, I think at the 1 to 3 month mark is definitely consistency. Him keeping his word, even in little things. Hey, I'm gonna text you back. Hey, I'm gonna call you back. Hey, you want to do this? If he keeps canceling and you can't see him and he's so busy, those are all red flags, right? So if we go from 3 to 6 months, you're getting more serious. The conversation should be getting more serious. You should be consistently speaking to each other daily, multiple times a week, seeing each other multiple times a month, especially if you both have full-time jobs. By now, you should have had some type of birthday or maybe some kind of holiday to see if he, did give a gift, did think of you, or something has happened within those 3 6 months to see what kind of person he is, the caliber of person. You'll know from 3 to 6 what's right about him, what's wrong. Um, and what I mean by that is just like you'll know if he's really integral. You'll know if he's emotionally connected to you. You'll know more about his personality because you've spoken to him on the phone. Hopefully, more you've texted him. You've been around him, maybe his friends, or maybe a birthday or a friend's birthday to kind of see how he operates in that environment. Um, this is where I think those questions about the future should come into play. And just like, hey, how do you feel about relationships? How do you feel about marriage? How do you feel about, polyamorous relationships and, this and this? I think that's really a big deal. And you try to not come off with what you think first so he don't just agree with you, but just be very vague, like, hey, what do you think about polyamorous relationship? See a lot of people doing it. What do you think about that? And if he says something like, oh, I would consider that, or I would like to do that, and that's something that you wouldn't like, then it wouldn't make sense to, continue the situation. Or you can ask for clarity in what he's looking for long term. Does he believe in fidelity? Does he want to be with one woman? Does he want a relationship, or is he more so looking for someone to have fun with? These are things you should know by now already. But if it's still not clear, you could come right out and ask, hey, what are you looking for? Are you looking for this, this, and this? Um, then I would definitely start asking, just, seeing if you don't know what his intentions are, he hasn't made his intentions known, then I definitely think you need to really evaluate the type of relationship you guys have had thus far. Has he taken an interest in your life in certain areas? Like if you're struggling in the area, has he offered to help? Has he physically shown up? Like if your car broke down, or if you needed money to hold you to another payday, or, just little things where he shows up for you consistently. Has he shown that he's secure in your life and that he wants to be a part of your life? Or is it more so of like a come and go? We speak every once in a blue. It's not consistent. Um, is he emotionally connected to other people? Like, oh, he still talks to his ex, he still talks to his child's mother, he still dates other women, or he has a girlfriend, or like if there's something weird going on with his relationship status while you're going through this process, or he's friend zoned you or something, then that's your answer. That's the answer you need. Um, but at this point, I definitely think you should know, have some kind of idea of who he is. Like I said, core values. You have to know what your core values are. For example, if a woman's a Christian, if she goes to church every Sunday, she reads her Bible every day, she prays. A man who's an atheist, does not believe in God, and actually thinks Christians are stupid, would not go together, right? Or for example, if it isn't, let's say they're both Christian, but one guy doesn't pray every day, he doesn't go to church, he doesn't believe in doing that daily, but you're doing that. How would that household look? Would you feel comfortable with a man who's not doing the same things you're doing? How would you feel about him not being a member of a church? Does that bother you? Do you want your children to go to church? These are things that you have to ask yourself, and that's how you'll know, you'll be able to pick more sensibly who you should be talking to. Now, above all these other things about what questions you should ask, I'm heavy on prayer and praying and asking God, if this person is the one, then show me. And if he's not, remove him, because I feel like God answers those questions in milliseconds. The prayer goes up and the answer comes down. Like literally within 5 seconds, you'll know. Whether you see something, you'll find something, you'll really know. But if you feel like you're not getting that answer, just ask the Holy Spirit, show me what I need to ask this man at this moment. And he'll give you the questions. One time I was talking to someone, and I'm trying to remember what we were talking about. We were talking about what would, I was like, oh, what would it look like to be with you? Right? What would it look like to be in a relationship with you on a daily basis? And I think the nigga said something like cuddle or something like, oh, we could be taking a nap and we could do. And I was like, nigga, we older. We not 16 and 18 years old where we finna take a nap. Like, what do you mean? Like that's the biggest threat is to take a nap, not trips or like. It just was weird. That was like really weird. It sounded like something like my niece would tell me about somebody she's dating. Like he want to take a nap or something. It's just weird. And I was like, this is not really given what it was supposed to give. So I don't know what, and he was like, oh, nobody likes me and nobody's interested in me. And I was just like, I just was like, I don't really know. Like your confidence is not there. So it makes me question, do you not know your value as a man or what you bring to the table, because you're really down about the fact that you feel like nobody likes you? It's definitely giving rejection. And that's a really tough thing for a woman to try to combat, right? Like, oh, well, I can let him know he's worthy, but he has to know that internally first. So if he's already like kind of rejecting himself and not feeling secure, not feeling confident in certain areas, you're going to be carrying that burden in the relationship, and that's not going to help the relationship. That's going to hurt the relationship. Controlling behavior. Usually you can tell if the person's controlling by 3 to 6 months or 6 to 12. And controlling could just mean there's a difference between protection and controlling. Controlling is I don't want you to do this because I don't want you to do this. Whereas protection could be, I think, is verbalized differently. Like, hey, um, say let's say you didn't answer your phone after you told him you was on your way home, and he was worried because he's like, usually you call me, you didn't answer. Are you safe? Are you okay? Versus somebody saying, when you get home, you better call me. You better make sure you text me. And next time, don't do that again. Like, there's a way to say things where you can tell the difference. And they always say, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, which basically means if you listen closely enough to people talking, you will know their heart towards you. Right. So let's go to 6 to 12 months now. To me, 6 to 12 months is where we're talking marriage, courtship, long-term goals. We're talking what does our future look like together, maybe planning a trip for the future, if not already had a trip. Um, Talking finances, talking what does a household look like with you as far as children, upbringing. Are they going to go to church? Are they going to be home? Do we want them to work, or do we want them to, stay home and go stay home for college? Are they going to college? Do we want to build towards their college fund? This is where you really need to know. And I will definitely say, stay away from any man that's very selfish or self-centered, bitter or jealous of women. These are the type of men you want to stay away from. You don't want to be around these men. They can get very bitter, very mean, very aggressive. Um, and these are not the people you want to be with. So if you see any jealousy where you tell him your accomplishments and he ignores it, or any competition where he feels like he's competing with you, or if you make a mistake, he kind of publicizes the mistake because he feels insecure, these are all red flags. If he tells you he's gonna call you, doesn't call you for days at a time, that's not consistency. If he's not intentional with dating and taking you out, that's not a good sign. So you have to figure out what you value as a woman and what type of relationship you want. Do you want someone who shows up for you consistently? That if you tell him I'm having a bad day, that he drops everything to come? Do you want a man who is financially wealthy, which means he may not have as much time as someone who works a regular 9 to 5. You have to prioritize what you want. Always say, take your love language, let him take his love language. It's a quiz, compare the results, things like that. Look at his, attachment styles, and you take your attachment styles. Does he have secure attachment styles? Does he have avoidant? These quizzes work towards your benefit. I'm not saying they have all the answers, but some of the information they give you is important in trying to figure out if this person is someone who needs to be in your life. Is he open to counseling? Is he open to therapy? Is he open to deliverance counseling? These are all things you can ask later on at that 6 to 12 month mark. Um, but I definitely will let him set the standard and let him set the mode of how the conversation needs to go. And then I throw in my question or my observation or something. But I think a lot of the times for me, what's happened, thank God for this. But the more I'm quiet, the more I listen, and then I could kind of assess what type of situation we're walking into. Where is he leading me? Okay, he's trying to lead me to the bed. That's not where I want to go. uh Things like that. So I think those are some of the things that's important. um and especially I think finances and communication is a big part of it. So just making sure he knows how to communicate his feelings, his emotions, he knows how to say what he's feeling. He's not passive aggressive or things like that, but he's actually say, hey, this hurt me, this bothered me. Da, 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 da. Now men are not women, so you can't expect him to be a woman because he's not a woman, he's a man. So the way he verbalizes it or says it may be different, and when he does show you that vulnerability, he's assessing you to see how you handle him expressing his emotions and his softer side. So definitely I hope that this helps you guys in having specific questions, and throw a random question out here and then let that question take on the form of another question, and then like kind of let it flow, so it doesn't feel like you're filling out a questionnaire, or that he's filling out a questionnaire or survey. You know what I mean? So I hope that this helps. I definitely got my last video deleted, so I hope this one is good for you guys. And if you have any questions or you want me to do a part two, please don't hesitate to tell me. All right. So I look forward to speaking to you guys soon. Let's be over and out. Bye.